Welcome, everyone, to the DweeBros podcast, the best gaming, crypto, per the last episode, dark web, music videos.
Are we on the dark web? Is our podcast?
I'm sure you could get on a dark web browser and get to our YouTube.
I feel like we're missing.
We're missing an audience.
We're
missing an
I don't think they're
audience.
missing us, though. I think that's the thing, though. We have to be aware of. I don't think they're looking for us. They're looking for other things.
They could be looking at us. Guys that are really cool that like video games. Where else are you going to find that except the dark web? You know?
That's where I would
The crazy
start.
part.
Time to go to the dark
Crazy to think
web.
about, but yeah, maybe.
But welcome, come one, come all. Last episode was dark web. This episode we have to open with, before we get to the games and the fun stuff, we have to talk about reality. And something became reality pretty quickly. I mean, it's been stirring the last couple months, but the U.S. government has confirmed aliens. We're here. We're confirmed aliens, or confirmed UFOs. Let me back it up. I don't want to sound like a tinfoil hat guy.
Sure. So,
But we have got confirmed UFOs.
I've always found the topic of UFOs, aliens, all extremely fun and interesting.
Yes.
I love the X-Files growing up. Like I'm sure
but
a
now
lot
it's too
of people.
mainstream.
No. Well, it is in a way, but I guess
It was cooler
here's
back
what I like. I'm seeing these articles. I feel like we've gotten the same story 8 different ways over the last 2 years. I think something declassified, and I feel like every 2 months, the government really kind of just confirmed UFOs, and then 2 months later, did the government just confirm UFOs?
Yes.
And then 6 months later, I think the government just and I keep seeing these headlines, and I'm like, are these new instances of information?
Here's what happened. I think there was like I said, it's been stirring for months and probably the last couple of years. Well, some people will say even longer. But it's always been kind of a Looney Tunes topic, right? Like the U.S. government has never said like, yeah, we got aliens in the back in Area 51. That's never happened. But what's happened was there have been declassified stuff to where it's like, what the frick was that? And that is declassified mainstream, like you can access that information. But it just got passed on. I think people did kind of just get, okay, whatever, there's aliens.
Yeah.
And I remember last year was a big one too. 60 Minutes did a thing and kind of organized all the leaks and all that stuff. And I think that's brought it into the zeitgeist.
Okay.
Again. And that's where we're at. In the 60 Minutes video, I really highly suggest, look up the 60 Minutes UFO video. It just came out the last couple of weeks. But in that video, they do a good job of kind of summarizing what has happened. And what happened, like, I think it was 2003, I want to say, was one of the more recent crazy things. And it was this guy, this older guy, and this other woman pilot. And it was him, and then his co-pilot, and then her and her co-pilot. And they were flying. They were, like, some army. They were off a naval base. That's what it was. And this story is nuts. Like, so they see this, like, Tic Tac looking, it looks like a Tic Tac, you know those little Tic Tac candy or whatever, mints, and they see it and they're like, what is that? And they get closer and they're like, it's just floating in air. And they're like, and he's like, do you see that too? And it's like, yeah, I see it. And as they get closer, it turns, like the object turns, and then it goes boop and disappears. And it's like, did you see where it went? And it's like, no, it disappeared. Well, they call it in. It's like, we got like an object. It was flying in our airspace. Like, we need to, because part of this, where the U.S. government comes in, is this is a security threat. Like, some things are like spying on us. Like, this is fricked up. So, getting out of the X-Files range, like, what's going on here?
If you treat it purely as a military issue,
yes,
there's a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. They called it in. They reported that thing, and within 1 minute, like, 1,000 miles away. Like, the speed doesn't make sense. It does not compute with, like, actual physics, like, where it ended up. They're like, yeah, we found it. It's over here. Like, somebody called it in, like, whatever.
Yeah.
So, that happened. There was some other stuff they kind of summarized in there, but it's like, it'll get you goosebumps. Like,
I need to watch this.
What they talk about. Because, and it's funny going online, they're
it.
like, it's the Chinese government. And someone goes, let me summarize for you in bullet points.
Yeah.
13,000 miles per hour this thing can travel.
Yeah.
It's like something, whatever G-force.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, there's no way that the Chinese government, like, there's nothing capable.
It's several magnitudes of evolution of our technology.
And the other thing that people are like, oh, maybe it's a secret U.S. Technology. I go, it is so far ahead, you cannot keep this hush hush.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when it got to like the stealth fighter planes,
we would have
and
already
stuff,
been
like,
out in space doing
yes,
things. Yeah.
There's too much wacko jacko stuff going on to like what's going on here.
They could be making it up.
Yeah. But that's a lot of people making it up.
A lot of people do make a lot of bull crap up.
And like, if you do like believe that there is something, some explanation for these objects, like it makes sense that something might be observing us.
Yeah. Well, now it's got to the point where the physics doesn't line up to where it's like, I think it's crossed over to like, I think you're bigger on the conspiracy side if you don't think that it's something, well, it's non-human technology. Like it has to be, you know, so, but on the government side, it's like, yeah, we need to be afraid. So that was the other part of the 60 Minutes thing was the guy that started seeing all these classified documents was like, we need to talk about this. And Marco Rubio is actually in the 60 Minutes thing because he's actually been big on like, we need to like do some research and get so a report is coming out in June and that's what people are waiting on. And like coming this next coming month, they're going to declassify stuff and they're going to show their details of the report, checking all these different cases and stuff. So maybe we'll know more.
Well, I'm excited to see it. And some people, like, I agree with what you said. People have a lot invested in answers to these questions because they're just like mysteries that have gone on for centuries and centuries and centuries. People get very defensive about their religion if something were to be one way. So they start making up reasons to be like, well, if your faith is that strong, be interested. Like, don't assume it's this or assume it's that. Like, we don't really know.
I'm open. Like, let's see what goes on. You know? We'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah. But the reason they may have come also is they're observing, do they buy the dip or not? So Crip, I said Crip. Our portfolio's in the crypt. Quick portfolio check, crypto check. Crypto had some crazy stuff too, which gets into conspiracy stuff this month. Bitcoin. So if you guys are in Bitcoin at all, I don't know if you saw this at all, but there was a big crash. We had to relocate. We had to sell the house, take out a second mortgage. No, none of that happened. But I did poop my pants when I looked at the portfolio because everything flash crashed. It went down major.
Like how much did it go down? What
Thousands.
My portfolio went down 50%.
Yeah.
Bitcoin was at 56,000 or something like that, right?
Yes, and now it hit 30.
Yeah.
Almost to the T. So here's where it gets the next part. When that happened, everyone was like, frick, and people started like panic selling, whatever. A diamond hands it. You got to diamond hands it. But even when you're crying, somebody said on 4chan, this guy came in and said, hey, I have some insider information. There's these things called whales in the crypto space. And these are people that have an enormous amount of coins or whatever. And they can kind of move the market. If they sell or buy, they are moving the entire market because they're just so ginormous stake in it. This guy came in and said, hey, I have some insider information. At this time, Pacific time or whatever, Bitcoin is going to drop to 30,000 at this time because the whales are trying to liquidate this other guy or trying to get this other stuff, and they're going to buy more. And at that exact time, Bitcoin came down and hit right at 30,000.
Now, when
so it was a coordinated like kind of thing.
Hold on. And I buy that. I understand. So did you read like somebody talking about this happening on 4chan? Did you go to 4chan? Did you see it before that post was made?
No, I was seeing all the people say, we checked out that post like after the fact. Because nobody was, I mean...
And then I don't use 4chan. Can people edit their posts after?
It was too many people going, that was like, I saw this post and this was what happened. Like they're on the financial part of 4chan or whatever it was.
I'm just saying like... It benefits 4chan to have people out there thinking, you need to be on 4chan to get the insider.
You know what that reminds me of? What you're talking about might be when like Simpsons predicted it. And it's like, someone created a
there's that. But the other thing is, a lot of people, this is where conspiracies can get kind of dark. A lot of people got very, about shootings. They get very like, these shootings were planned. And one of the things I would always see when I was in college was people would be like, if you go to like, this person died in the shooting, go to their memorial page. If you go, you'll see that the page was made 2 years before the shooting. I saw people quote stuff like that. And I would go, and you would go, and it was made then. But then I actually was like, why would this be happening? Why would a memorial page for someone be up 2 years before they died? And then you see people can convert a page, like an event page, from something else. So people had pages.
Oh, yeah.
And like, I don't want to set up a whole new page. I'll just take this page, convert it, and change the name of it. And so then it has a date from before the thing that happened.
Yeah.
But it's so I just don't, whenever I hear that, I'm like, I really want to know.
The reason I didn't like doubt this is that major like people that are like figures in the crypto community talked about, like they're smarter people than me and you.
No,
like those people came out and said this is legit. This happened.
The biggest thing.
I just have to ask that caveat of anything on the internet. People will snowball and then it's like telephone, and then someone's like, he wrote it a month ago. He wrote it, and like it might have been he wrote something similar the day of. Yeah. And it's like I don't know. So
I'm in a Discord with some people, and when this all started happening, I jumped to see what they were talking about. And they were talking about how, like, wow, this is really crazy because, one, it signifies the power Bitcoin still has over everything. Bitcoin goes down,
all the other coins have dropped.
Yeah, that's the rule. It's always been the rule of thumb. And then also, on top of that, it also shined a light on the mining aspect of it. NVIDIA's coming out saying they're taking out some of the hashes and that allows mining to happen in their graphics cards. Yeah. They're taking that away. And they're production of graphics cards. So they want to get rid of mining. Mining is going away. Bitcoin is...
Well, they announced that 6 months ago.
Yeah, but like they're saying like a lot of this stuff's trying to trickle in. And then, of course, now you have popular people are saying some things that bring some really bad light to like Bitcoin. And then China will do China things every 4 months. It doesn't really matter. When China comes out and says, hey, we're going to ban this, you don't really ban it. Like you just... It's still there. So when you say we're entering a market where like, hey, they're not gonna have a lot of downs and ups and whatever. The biggest thing I think that was really concerning when you talk about all of this is the banks. The banks getting more and more involved in cryptocurrency. Yeah. And that's where.
What are they doing with cryptocurrency?
They're buying it and then trading it.
Yeah, some of these places, I think it was
like JP Morgan.
JP Morgan's
dirtbag.
Yeah, they are, because they came out and they were like, this was like a couple of years ago. They said we will never give this crap. Like, hey, because people were asking, can we buy and sell?
I just got an email from I have my retirement stuff in Edward Jones. Yeah. Just my IRA and stuff or my traditional. But I got an email from them a week ago, and it was like, here's our stance on crypto. And it was basically like, we're putting our head in the sand. Like, we're not touching it. Don't ask us to touch it. Yeah. And I was laughing reading it like, I mean, that's fine because I'm not using you guys for that, but you guys are stupid.
Well, some of these banks aren't publicly wanting to trade it, but there are some higher-ups who people who have significant amount of wealth who they will deal with. Like, JP Morgan will deal with crypto, but they will not allow the average Joe to walk in with their crypto.
Yeah. And that's they want to keep it in the hands.
But what's happening, and especially after, like, all this and COVID and all this stuff, like I even saw yesterday or whatever that like there is more talks. I think we're gonna have something soon they'll talk about, but they're talking about like a U.S. currency like digital coin. Yes. Like we are moving in that direction. So Bitcoin, all these crypto, that's where everything's going in. So some people are saying like, are they trying to get in now, or is this part of this like?
I wouldn't mind if we switched the dollar to be a digital coin.
Well, there is an official U.S. coin. It's just not publicly traded. Yeah. But they did create one, like in terms of just, and I think that's just a sign of the United States recognizing that there is a digital push. Now, does that mean Bitcoin's a future currency? I don't know. Probably not. Like
it's not ever going to be the common man's currency. Yeah.
Well, I spent there was an hour and a half, maybe 2 hour podcast I watched this past week, and there's there's like 2 books they really suggested, but in the podcast it was like galaxy brain stuff of like what is money. And that's like the 2 books they recommend. Like the one they said the first like 5 chapters of this book about Bitcoin, or their 15 chapters or whatever, is just telling you about the history of money and like what money is, and like how fiat currency and stuff is like the biggest it's the biggest freaking like Ponzi scheme, like all this other stuff compared to what crypto is, because crypto is like it's a show, like you have proof of work, like all this stuff, like whereas like fiat stuff you can counterfeit it. You can just keep printing as much as you want. Like, there's only one source, the Fed, that has this control of, like, when do they get to print it, whatever. So, like, Bitcoin and stuff is the first, like, thing that's, like, this is a legitimate, like, encrypted, whatever.
Here's where this coin was at 4 years ago. Yeah. Like, that's the whole point. Like, this coin was being traded for a piece of pizza 4 years ago, and now it's being used to buy a car. Yeah. Like, and you can track all that through blockchain.
But what's really interesting, I I'm trying to think of the freaking thing. Whiteboard Finance is the YouTube, but they put up it's an amazing 1.5 hours that like he kind of interviews this guy that's like an expert on all this stuff, and he went all in on Bitcoin, but he was just talking about how like this is the most like secure money thing, like form of currency we've ever had. So there's a lot of, and I know people get into psycho like Bitcoin is God kind of stages of this, but like as far as like what is money, it gets into that. Like what is money? It's like money is like
supply and
time.
demand.
It's your time. Yeah. Like it's man-made time. It's man-made like
value.
Your value and stuff that you are trading and stuff. So check that out. I don't want to go too deep into the woods with it.
You don't want to go too deep into the woods?
I'm already too deep. Correct.
I didn't want to go too deep into the woods.
It's just one of those things where like a lot of people like they talk about wanting to invest, and there's a lot of people out there who don't do investing, but they hear about cryptocurrency and they think it's going to be a get rich quick scheme.
And that's kind of what it was for the past couple of months. It was a get rich.
Okay, but it was.
It was. But you have to know that comes with like it's time to pay up, which is meaning you have to diamond hands to this or hold for the long run. Or
the best thing I always encourage anyone who's looking to be educated and make it your own. There's no person that can tell you how to spend your money.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk about the word
number one golden rule, we are not financial.
Yeah, like you know,
except Travis.
Travis is. Yeah, email him personally. He'll give you.
You know, if you reach out, I'll do my best.
You reach out, he's like, my Binance is still trying to get verified.
Yeah.
Travis has been an interesting. Like we've been talking, and Travis is on the sidelines. Like I wish I could talk about this. Like
I own some crypto. I'm not fascinated with it. I would like to buy more.
Yeah.
That's my position.
Yeah.
Like, that's
well, now's the time.
I have
I want
some.
more of this.
I would like to buy more. It's part of my overall plan.
Maybe this saved you that you waited.
The rest of all of this is just kind of like sports, or it's like anything else you get really deep into and pay a lot of attention to.
Yeah.
It's a hobby.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of my opinion on it.
Yeah.
For the certain people that bought hundreds of thousands of Doge when it was 0.00001 cent per. Yeah, it's more than a hobby. You got rich, but like like I think you know we don't need to get into personal stuff, but I think you did pretty well with Doge. But at the same time, for guys like us, this is a good financial
passive
opportunity.
income.
But at the same time, it's investment. So I'm not passionate about it. Like I'm not.
Some of the best investments you can make in life, though, is in the form of a video game.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say Doge, but okay.
Yes.
Is in the form of a video game, which is that's what we're about here, guys.
We're all about video games.
after UFOs.
But I am excited to announce for the first time ever, we are launching our first ever cryptocurrency called Dweebs.
Yeah.
Dweebs
going for it.
Dweebs, and you can.
Dweebs.
Yeah,
you can
own a single Dweeb, and the only thing you have to do is subscribe.
And then we'll rug pull you, and then we'll take all your money.
Yeah.
We'll sell out.
It's a win-win.
We only own 90% of the coin of the entire supply, and you can get 10% in.
You can buy
what a deal.
It's like a Shark Tank thing, dude.
If we had a Dweeb coin, I feel like every time the podcast gets a view, a new coin would get made. That would be how it works.
Oh, yeah.
But at that point, then it becomes nothing
That'd
but
be our
clout.
gimmick. That'd
We'd
be our
chasing
gimmick.
clout.
Every time Nintendo screws us, a new coin is made.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be a good one. Where is Samus? Where is Metroid?
But what have you been playing? What's been in the disc tray?
I've played a lot, so I have a lot to say.
Yeah.
So I can go first, or I can go last.
Well, a big one came out for you. I say you start us out.
Okay. I will go. I'll let that one be the burner. That will be the end of my conversation. I've played a lot of video games. Don't know why. I just have.
We're a gaming channel.
Resident Evil 8 came out, and
man,
what a game!
I am excited to play it. I haven't played it yet.
You haven't played it? Yeah. I'm not gonna go into details too much.
Man.
I am enjoying it a lot. It is disappointing but exciting at the same time. It's a weird taste. And that's why I think people. I'm excited for you to play it. Did you play 7?
I started 7 a couple weeks ago and played the first 2 hours. Mm-hmm. So I think that game is not what a lot of people expected. Mm-hmm. I hear it's like a wacky carnival ride.
Yeah, that's honestly.
I heard it's like
Lady
being in the middle of a 3-ring circus, and like everywhere you look is just, what is this? What is happening?
I love the meme about like Lady Dimitrescu and how it's like, her
big hat, her big legs,
big other things. I get it. Like
step on me.
Yeah, like very simp-like mentality. But it's just it is. it's hard for me to describe it because I'm starting to play other Resident Evil games, and I got a feel for 1, 2, and 3, and now I'm like sitting here like I haven't played 4. 4 is the only one I will not touch until I get a remake.
Just play it.
No.
4 is so good.
Watch Leftovers.
And 8, I am. 8 is,
5 years later.
From all I can tell, 8 is like the closest thing to 4 that we've gotten.
Oh my gosh.
So you're about to head into more.
Like
8.
I hear 8, everybody is saying 8 is kind of like 4 light.
So full of...
I'm serious, that's what I'm hearing.
Here's the thing. I think 4 looks like a good time, but it's the camera and the control port that I just can't get behind.
Yeah, well, they're remaking it. You'll play
exactly.
it.
I'll play it when I remake it. I did the same thing with the other ones.
I will say, and I know we're getting off a little because you were going to talk about 8.
Yeah.
I started getting a little bit nervous about the remake of 4 because they've been doing like the remake of 2 and the remake of 3 and 7, and those are extremely horror games. Like very scary,
4 is
very
not.
Bloody. 4 is it
scary.
starts out kind of scary, like you're in the village. Like after about 2 hours in that game, that becomes a Metal Gear Solid game. You're in a castle. There's a midget running around with like a French hat on, and he's calling you on his codec, and he's sending like weird like giant like guys in these cult outfits who have machine guns and they're shooting. Like it goes off the rails, and so. I've been nervous when you guys are like, you haven't really played 4 that much, and you were like, I'll wait till the remake, and I love 4. I played it a couple years ago. It's one of my favorite games now, and I was like, man,
I think you'll love it.
I was worried that with the way that they've been going with 2 and 3 remakes and 7, that they would like recontextualize 4 as like a very scary game. But now I'm getting encouraged because what I'm hearing about 8
is not
that at all.
No.
And so that makes me feel better that they will probably do 4 the way it deserves to be done.
Yeah,
8,
I think they will.
8's been enjoyable. I'm not hating on it. It's just definitely something different.
Yeah.
I expected something a little bit more.
I started 7 recently. And
7's freaky, man.
So
7 I'm
7
not even going to touch.
I
7
was
is
not going to touch 7.
Keep you up at night.
I was not going to touch 7, but then when 8 came out, I started paying attention.
You should play 7.
And I was like, I really want to play 8. I feel like I should play 7. I have it for free from the PlayStation Collection. So I installed it, hung out a couple weeks ago or last week and played the first 2 hours. That game, I think it's going to end up being shorter than I thought it was.
It is
because
shorter.
like there's like the first big boss fight obviously is against the wife, Mia. And that's at the very beginning. And then I always saw that there was the boss fight in the garage with the dad of the house with his car and you kill him 6 times.
That's kind of silly.
It's wacky, but it's very scary. But like I always thought of that garage scene as that's probably 4 hours into the game. It's like the first thing you do immediately after you get loose in the house. And now I'm already like almost out of the first house, I think. I'm going through the basement and then I think I'm out of the first house. So
the game is a sprint. I've always tried. The game's a sprint to 75%. Like not a sprint. It's a walk to 75% and then a sprint to the end.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was enjoying it. I'm more into the wacky side of Resident Evil, which puts me in the minority, I think. Mm-hmm. But
no.
You know, I'm enjoying it. I don't like the hillbilly Louisiana chopped up limbs all over the place.
Yeah,
that's never been my aesthetic. Like I don't like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't like the hillbillies, you know, doing stuff to people out in the woods. It's just that makes my skin crawl.
He likes Dimitras. That's all he cares about.
But obviously that's the way this one is. But I actually, as I got into it, I was like, this isn't really. It's scary, but it's good.
So
Resident Evil 7.
Resident Evil 8 right now. I'm playing through it. I'd probably argue I'm about halfway through it right now. So hopefully by the time we get together next time, I'll be able to give you guys a full report on what I thought about that game. You know, I think you could play it.
I hear it's not that scary.
Yeah,
I think that demo we played.
I've been watching people actually play it online and stuff, and it's very goofy.
I think it is. I think that's why I think you could play it.
But there are some spooky parts.
There are.
I think that demo that they put out is probably scarier than most of this game.
Yeah.
From what I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In terms of other games I've been playing, obviously I've been playing Warzone. They just came out with the mid-season update. Man, it's really nice to be part of a game where it's like an open meta, where in terms like there's nothing that everyone's running around with different stuff, and you're debating whether or not they have a better edge, so you go try out what they have, and it makes the game a lot more enjoyable than like someone running around with nothing but burst guns and nothing but snipers and nothing but shotguns. It's just an open level like playing field. So I am approaching very quickly 100 hours of Warzone.
Wow.
I have played it so much recently, and I'm actually kind of surprised of how much I've been playing it. And almost how much better I've gotten. Because I think, like, when you jump in, like, you can contest. You jump in, you're kind of like, I don't want to fight anyone because if I fight someone, I have a chance to die. So you sit there and you're like, I'm going to sit right here and I'm going to wait till the final circle and I just have to kill one guy.
Yeah.
If I kill one guy.
That's how we play Fortnite.
Yeah, Fortnite. You're like, I'm going to build a little hut and I'm going to sit in this little hut and now I'm not going to move until I have to move. But then I think I learned, I'm like, the fun of the game is taking away that from somebody else. Like, me pushing that and someone sitting
causing suffering to others.
Yeah, that's the best part.
You have to be aggressive in multiplayer games. You have to learn how to be aggressive in each game. Like Destiny, I never got really good at Destiny until I really played it enough to know how to frick with people and how to get them off of their game.
Yeah.
And once you learn that and how to be aggressive and how to shoot and how to dive behind this piece of cover and use this ability, once you learn that, you can dominate, and that's how you win.
The best thing I've ever done, I did it this past week, which was cool. I was playing solos, and solos in that game, everyone just sits in a house. They don't run around the field. They don't try, because you only have one life. You have no teammates. You have no backup. So I was in a house, and I was sniping at somebody, and there was a guy coming from behind. I planned ahead. I put a bouncing Betty right underneath the level I was at by the door. And I was like, okay, I hear the footsteps. This is what I'm going to do. I threw a stun grenade, and I stunned the person that's below me. So they didn't push me. And then I walked over. It was so beautiful. I walked over, and I just smashed the window by the Betty. Because I thought, if I can get this person to run underneath me to see if I jumped out, guess what they did? They ran underneath me, hit the Betty, and blew up and died. And I was like, I didn't have to fight them, and I got them to kill themselves. And like that part of the game was like, I love outthinking people, and that's where I get to do that in the shooting mentality. It really is like enjoyable to be able to outmaneuver and outwork people.
Nice.
Other game I'm playing, MLB The Show.
On Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation. It's just the show is a great game. The servers sucked at first. I mean, it was very frustrating to get an online game, but now the game is churning on all cylinders. It is baseball. I don't know if you guys ever played.
Put that on the box.
Yeah. It's baseball. Well, you play Madden. Here's the thing: you play Madden
baseball.
now. You play Madden now. Anyone can play Madden. You don't have to know jack squat about football to play Madden. You can just throw the ball and run the ball, and you'll be fine. Baseball. If you didn't play baseball growing up, you have a hard time getting used to this game. I didn't play baseball growing up. Did you play baseball growing up?
No.
Did you?
I played T-ball.
Played T-ball.
5. So I know everything about
when
this.
a pitch comes flying in at you, you have to tell what kind of pitch is coming in at you from the moment they let go of that ball. Especially like the major leagues. It actually gives you like a respect because to hit a fastball and then hit a slider is two completely different things.
You have to identify the type.
Yeah,
and that's why the change-ups screw people because they look like one thing and then they change.
It just drops or something. So for me, I have gotten to the point now where I am sitting, right here's the TV and here's my face. That's how close I sit to the TV. Because I'm watching when that pitcher throws that ball. And because as soon as it comes off the hand, you have to know what he's throwing and where he's going. And if you don't, you're not hitting it, man.
So you look
so
like a
you
little
put
kid
your face right on the
Well,
screen.
it's like I'm sitting there, I'm literally watching for where the particle of his hand is ending. I'm watching that spot because as soon as that pitch comes off,
Is that how everybody's playing this game?
No, I just suck. there's a friend
I didn't know if that was part of the meta.
No, but there's a friend of mine who like he
screen.
knows baseball and he's just able to sit back and he's like, I play pretty casually. And I'm like, dude, I have to sweat. Like, I have to try very, very hard to get a win in that game. Because I just don't know baseball. I don't.
So are you playing online or are you playing the single?
We're actually doing an online franchise. We made our own little league. So I created a schedule. We're playing each other every week.
That's cool.
I'm 2-6. I'm currently in 5th place. So I'm no longer in last place. I'm on a 2-game winning streak.
Nice.
I was on a 6-game loser streak.
That's the way to play that game, I think, is get a group of friends, do a schedule, play it once a week.
I'm also playing, like, there's a campaign. I'm playing through Road to the Show where I just get to pitch and I get to hit a little bit. But it's a good game. It's way more enjoyable than Madden. I'll say that. And I don't even like baseball. But yeah, football games suck.
Obviously there'll be a new one this year. I don't think I'll be buying it, but hey, you never know.
Someone needs to make a compilation of all our Madden discussions because it's like it's Travis going not buying it every year, and then Jacob going I hate Madden. The new Madden guys.
What do I have a favorite Madden?
Like a Madden where you're like, I really enjoyed playing this Madden.
I really enjoyed Madden 2002 because it was the first one I played on my mom's computer. I had Madden 2004 on the computer with Michael Vick. That one was good. I played Madden 2005 with my friend. That is probably the best Madden I played.
The hit stick.
Yes, it's probably the best one I played. It was Ray Lewis on the cover, but it was out at the same time as ESPN 2K5, so I always kind of resented it because whenever we would play it, I was always like, I'd rather be playing ESPN right now. But, I'd say 2002, 2004 were good Maddens. After that, I don't know that there is a single Madden that I would look at and say that was a really good game. I do think that the leap from the 360 generation to the Xbox One generation, I think it was 2015 was the first one on the PS4 and Xbox One that was like next gen. I think it had Richard Sherman on the cover.
No, that's 2015. 2014 was the one before had Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, so I think 2015, the one with Richard Sherman on the cover.
That was a good one.
I remember enjoying that one because that was the first one of the new gen, and they did kind of change some things. It was bare bones. I didn't buy it, but I would hang out with my friends and play it with them.
That was the one I played the most.
They basically didn't change the game from then until this year, I guess. But
they make millions off of it, too.
Can I ask a quick Michael Vick question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Didn't he come back at some point?
He did. He killed it when he came back.
So he...
Hey, no pun intended.
Maybe no.
So obviously,
maybe not the right term,
no, I think it's a fair question. He definitely ran a illegal dogfighting ring while he was the quarterback for the Falcons.
Very popular quarterback.
He was a very popular quarterback. He was arrested. He was in prison for 3 years.
This time.
When he got out, he was born again Christian. He obviously was like, I shouldn't have done that thing I did. And he started out as like a backup
for the Philadelphia Eagles.
For the Eagles.
Not Nick Folk. Who was it? Nick Folk?
It was Kevin Cobb.
Kevin Cobb.
He was a backup for Kevin Cobb.
Yep, there you go. That was the guy.
You probably haven't heard of Kevin Cobb.
No.
That dude, he threw like 4 touchdowns one game. People were like, "This dude's the Messiah."
Yeah, and then if I remember correctly, they got rid of Kevin Cobb, and then they started.
Trade him to the Rams.
They were going to trade. They were going to start Mike Vick. And then they signed like all these guys, and they were making a dream team. And Vic was pretty good for the Eagles. Like
they won, I think, the division twice.
Yeah, and there was a season where he was like right there with Peyton Manning in terms of passer rating.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty. But now he's retired.
Oh, Vic retired,
and he's on like talk shows. But what I do like about Michael Vick is he's not one of the loud guys on the talk shows. He's more quiet. They'll bring him on and ask, "What do you think about this? What do you think about that?" And they'll ask him, too, about, like, his past. And they don't get into details, but he's always like, I made bad mistakes. And so he's reformed his life, and he works in the media
I'm glad
now.
I asked the Vic question.
Yeah. Vic's awesome. I like him a lot. But moving on past that. Ladies and gentlemen, Mass Effect came out.
Oh.
Are you going to take your pants off?
I'm not taking my pants off.
I'm think about that.
I'm only 6 hours in. Plus, I don't feel like taking my pants off.
Mass Effect 1?
1, 2, and 3.
But did you start 1?
I've started.
Go back on our channel if you want to see him take his pants off.
How are the updates to 1?
Game looks amazing, dude.
Okay.
Oh my god.
What are you playing it on?
PS5.
Okay.
Yeah, some of the updates.
I wanted
really good.
My PC can run it at a higher frame rate, but I wanted 4K.
I was debating if I want to play it on the PlayStation or play it on the PC.
I want to have a controller and I want it on 4K. So I have it set to quality mode, which by the way, the frame rate is just fine at 4K. I'm sitting there playing. I'm like, this is just great.
Yeah.
It's 4K 30?
Yeah. And then you can do instead you can bump it up and you can do the 60 frame mode, which apparently there's an update where they do the mixture of both as they learn more.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. And it makes me remember, I'm 6 hours in, how bad Mass Effect 1 was in terms of gameplay.
The game's awesome.
Okay, the story is great. I love the characters. The characters they introduced. I got introduced to Rex. I just got to Sony back, and I'm sitting there like, oh, I love all these
It's been
characters.
so long that I forgot a lot of
It's
parts.
definitely not as polished as 2 or 3. I'm not saying
100%,
that.
yeah.
But, like, it's functional. It was their first time,
You're right.
besides Jade Empire, making an action game.
It's just, the game came out in 2007, and they remastered it, and it's like, this is a 2007 game. Like, you're playing it, in your mind, you're like, I know what 2 and 3 is like, and I could play 2 and 3 right now and not feel the difference. That's the thing. That's how good the gameplay was for 2 and 3.
Yeah.
You know, but another.
It's fair. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah.
It looks amazing. And honestly, it just creates more of an excitement for me to get to 2. I am salivating to get to 2. Like, I cannot wait. 2 is just an absolute joyride of a game.
I never finished it. Maybe I really should.
Oh my gosh!
I think 2 is my favorite.
2 is just an absolute.
Let me just for me, Mass Effect 1. I played it again in 2016, and I just love how deeply it really shows its science fiction world. just the codex, and you can go to all these different planets.
Yep.
And yeah, on a lot of them, there's not anything really to write home about, but it's cool. You can explore planets and go places.
That's literally what I spent the first 5 hours
There's just a sense of scale to that game that every time I started at Mass Effect 2, I'd get 3 or 4 hours in, and it's like I'm still on this linear path. They're telling me where to go. I'm going there. There's one hallway. I walk down it. And I just I feel like they lost that feeling of there's the whole universe available to you in the second and the third one.
Yeah.
I never played the third one.
The first one is really awesome because you're right. You can go anywhere whenever you want. They
so
tell
open.
You, here's all your stuff. You can go do it. I spent the first part of the game at the Citadel and just at the Citadel. I did so much at the Citadel. It was insane. And then I got my plane. I remember I was like, oh, crap, I can go anywhere. And I was sitting there, I was like, oh, where do I go? But then, of course, as I'm starting to go, they don't have a menu up. When you're trying to traverse the universe and the galaxy, they don't tell you, where the missions are.
Yeah.
So I have to exit out of there and then open up my codex, find the mission, find the planet, go back into the universe, and I have to do what's the name of the planet I'm looking for? And I have to go
that's something that's gotten very good in recent games is the GUI and I know exactly what I need to do. I also love a feature that came to not only, especially RPGs and stuff. If it's been a while, it's been 3 months since I played this game, it tells you hey, here's what you last did.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Because what if you leave for 3 months and come back to Mass Effect? Where are you at?
And then there's other things, the combat is a little janky. I forgot, you have to tell your people what to do. You can't just set them to a certain mode. Where, 2, you can kind of, say, hey, I want you to play balanced or bionic heavy or, that kind of stuff was kind of cool. Where I'm constantly holding L1 and assigning, tasks to people as I'm fighting things.
Yeah.
Because I'm playing this on hard difficulty. I want to be challenged as I'm playing through it.
Hard was hard.
That's a hard game.
It is. It's very. I forgot because the shooting's so bad. It is bad.
That's why I might lean PC because mouse and keyboard helps probably quite a bit. I played that game on Steam controller last time I played it with gyro aiming.
Yeah.
Wow. I played the whole thing.
How'd that go?
It was awesome.
Right on.
It was awesome. I used the little pad to do rough aiming, and then I held down this thing, and then I did this. And I just wanted to play Mass Effect again. I was like, I want to play it a totally different way.
Is your brother playing it?
I don't know.
I wonder if he is. I figured he would be.
I don't know. He doesn't.
Did they bring the multiplayer over?
They did. They had a multiplayer for 2.
Yeah.
Oh.
They did.
I didn't know that.
For 2.
They said they weren't bringing the one
no,
from 3
they don't have a multiplayer at all.
Oh.
But all of this culminates into this. Why I love Mass Effect and the new one, Andromeda, what sucked at was the development of characters and the ability to develop relationships with the characters is my favorite part.
Yeah. You want to date. You want to
not even dating, but be able to develop friendships.
Yeah.
I'm walking up to the Krogan and I forgot you taking people on missions in this game affects your relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't take what's his name, Caden, the human who I absolutely cannot stand.
Yeah.
If I don't take him on a lot of missions, I'll come up and talk to him. He's yeah, it's been a while since I've been out of here. It's yeah, it has been.
Yeah, they start noticing.
Here. But I took the Krogan out, and to Sony made a comment about him. And when we got on there was a dialogue option about his history, because he's I was hey, I know she made a joke about you being fertile, not a joke, but something like that, and he was yeah, they wiped out our ability to make babies, and I was oh, I was he wouldn't have told me that until later on, unless I So I was oh, I forgot, I need to take the right people with me when I go on missions.
But isn't Anthem great?
I don't remember
that they abandoned making these types of games.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. Mass Effect's great. I just was as you're saying this, I'm all man, BioWare, they're so good. Wait, what happened?
Yeah. I have Anthem in my backseat of my car. My friend gave me, you should play this. I was yeah.
They are,
Yeah, so you guys, there's
I definitely want to play through those again.
Yeah, it's a joy. I'm enjoying it. I forgot how much of a commitment it is, but I am committing more and more time to it as they get free time opened up.
And Rex is the best character.
Rex is stinking awesome,
Rex.
Dude. He's just such a...
He's just so funny.
I've committed. I'm doing 2 run-throughs of this game. I'm all 3 of them.
Yeah.
I'm doing a Paragon and then my first ever Renegade run-through.
I just have never done the Renegade or on KOTOR the Dark Side. It just gets so crazy.
And here's why I decided to do a Renegade run-through after I was at the Citadel for so long. I was talking to the ambassador for the human race, and he was just such a prick. And I was sitting there, I would say these things to you in real life, to go shove it and jump off a cliff and all this stuff that was the available options for me to say. I'm not saying them because I'm doing Paragon, But I'm saying, like, I cannot wait to do Renegade just to see how he reacts.
See, I was Paragon throughout the game, and then there was a part in, I think, 1, 2, and 3 where the news reporter...
Yep.
That was like, Renegade, frick it. Because I heard you did this, and they start pressing you, and it's like, hit her, or hit the reporter. Or whatever.
Oh, gosh.
Like, boom.
If you go Renegade the whole way, like, does the game still make narrative sense? That's what I've always struggled with, is like... I get it. I get that you have the choice, but like there is an overarching story that you don't really have choice about. And I've always struggled because I never picked the Renegade options. But like if I picked all the Renegade, it'd be funny. But would the actual story make sense still?
Yeah.
Like, if this guy was such a jerk, would these people even stay on the ship with him? Like, do people say, "Hey, you're kind of being a jerk"? Like, why would they be with you for 3 games and then go and do all this extra DLC? Like, that's where I have always felt like, and I think Last of Us 2 is where I actually fully internalized this. I don't know that choice is always the best thing for a game. I think for Mass Effect it makes sense. That's its thing. But like choice about which character do you save makes more sense to me than choice. Do I want to be a jerk or do I want to be nice? Because being a jerk the whole time, yes, you can do that. It doesn't actually make the story any better. It doesn't like... I don't know if that makes any sense.
I get what you're saying. I think there's certain things that add like... How should I say this? It just adds edge to your character in the sense of like, hey, what would you really do? Would you really want to be a jerk? Because like it's hard because you can't play that game as neutral. Like you can't play it as like I'm gonna do some good things and some bad things because it affects your dialogue options. Like,
but isn't that's my problem with it because that's how people actually are. They're nice to some people and mean to other people. So if you play it honestly, you don't get access because they only give you access for being way this way or way the other way.
I lost certain choices I wanted.
I actually fundamentally don't think that's good design.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
It was a bummer when I couldn't save certain people or do a certain thing. I don't have enough Paragon or enough.
I think that's the worst age thing about Mass Effect 1. As much as I love that game, the dialogue, things that you click on, they'll say completely different things that aren't what it said.
Yeah.
And like it's like I didn't mean that. And then there's that element.
I've noticed that though.
And then there's elements of like I just think that the dialogue has been so many other games like Horizon Zero Dawn did something really cool where instead of Paragon or Renegade, like good or bad, it's like, do you want to answer more analytically, more emotionally, or more intelligent? Yeah, like it's more like
emotional.
What part of the personality of Aloy do you want to bring out? And you can lean into a part of, but it's always Aloy. It's just a different, more of an analytical Aloy. I think that is a much better way to let someone express themselves than. Do you want to be a shitlord or do you want to be literally Christ incarnate and like feed people like with loaves of bread?
I wonder how much of that too was your choices carry over from part 1 to part 2, part 3. That's a big heaping just dish of work. You know what I mean? Like, so I wonder if they kind of got lost in the sauce a little bit too.
Oh, I'm sure
of all those choices, and they were like, "Frick!" Like, well, if you
let's just go one way or the other.
Yeah,
I bet that got kind of convoluted.
They did clean up some of the dialogue.
Did they?
I went back and watched the video because I was trying to remember because I got a dialogue option. I was like, oh, what's the outcome of this? And I was like, I'm going to cheat it because I want to make sure I get the right outcome. So I looked up and I was like, oh, this is a completely different conversation than what I'm having right now.
Okay, that makes sense then.
So yeah, they did clean up some of that. I'm not saying it's completely because there were times when I was like,
well, that's good to hear.
Because that was a complaint originally. Yeah, was stuff like
you would pick something like no, and you'd click no, and you'd be like, why don't you just get out of here, you idiot? And it's like, that's not what I was trying to say.
My favorite part so far, and after that, I'm done. I've other than my mobile games, but who cares about those?
Clash of Clans.
Clash of Clans. I'm still playing that a lot. I just got the Normandy. I just got inherited. I became a Spectre. So I'm in the first part of the game. I was about to
when you said that, I thought you meant like in World War II. I was like, man, they really changed this game. Got the Normandy.
So I'm on the ship and I walk up, and Joker's like, Captain, she's all yours. You might want to make a speech, but remember. And he's like, you don't want to talk too long. So then he gives you the options. And I was sitting there, I was like, I have to give a Paragon speech because I'm Paragon. So I start going down that route. And I just keep talking. And then there were times where I was like, oh, I like this line better than the other one. Because they kept giving me more options. And I kept talking. And I was like, man, it's a long speech. And then at some point, it showed a cutscene of two guys sitting in a chair like this with their eyes rolled.
Oh,
and I was
my
like,
gosh.
Oh, crap, I'm talking too long.
Oh, my gosh.
Which was cool because I was like, that happens. Like, someone's like, hey,
someone does get tired of it.
Shut up, man. Like,
that is
because I kept saying this thing. Like, we got to stop Saren. And we need to save the Citadel, and we need to. This is our fight, and humanity needs to be on the map. And I'm like saying this crap, and I'm like, Yeah, this dude needs to shut up.
Maybe I should do a full Renegade playthrough.
I'm going to. After I do my Paragon one, I'm 100% doing a Renegade playthrough, and I can't wait because I'm going to jack stuff up.
Yeah.
In
the KOTOR games, like, when you pick the Renegade options, there would be like a poor man like on the first planet, and like you'd go to his apartment and he'd be like, "Please, I have no money," and then you pick and be like, "I am gonna kill you and take everything you have and sell your family into slavery," and then you kill him. Like the evil options in KOTOR were so unbelievably mean and just mean spirited and awful. Like it was crazy the stuff you could say to people in that game.
I'm excited.
Like Lucasfilm would never let that game come out nowadays.
Yeah, Mass Effect, man. I wish the new one they made was good, but I'm glad we have this. This is what the people
the original
wanted.
3.
Yeah.
Well, I want to lighten stuff up. We're going to Renegade, but I want to go Paragon, and I'm going to start with books. I got 2 books I want to talk about.
Okay.
We haven't been.
Are we done with games?
These are game related. Well, one of the 2 is game related.
You're picking like a McDonald's.
Yeah.
Where are we going with this?
We are jumping to fast food.
Okay.
We're now a fast food.
We need a tier list now.
We're a foodie podcast. We're gonna do what's it called? Mukbangs.
Mukbang.
Mukbang.
I feel dirty saying that.
Where'd that name come from?
I don't know.
Whatever mukbang is, look it up. But
I think Logan Paul did it or whatever. I don't know.
But I got 2 books. I'm not a real big book guy, art book guy. But when I am, I go all out. But I saw this on TikTok. This guy talking about it. This is the guide to McDonald's collectibles. You're like, oh, okay, what's this? This is all of the Happy Meal toys from the 1970s to 1997. So if you do not know that this about me, I ate fast food every single day of my life until I was like 25. Like, since I was a little kid, I always got all the Happy Meals and stuff. So I started seeing this guy flipping on TikTok, and I was like, okay, I gotta get this. I went on eBay. This is all of these classic freaking Happy Meal toys. Did you guys eat fast food?
We didn't have the money to get Happy Meals, so I'm just letting you know right now. I had this conversation with my wife. She was like, yeah, I asked for this for my birthday. Like,
I was like,
I maybe got 1 or 2.
But I'm looking at this book, and it's like I had at least one of these or all of these from these sets growing up because this is all I got. So there's stuff in here like they had like Marvel characters and... Oh, I want to find a good one.
Do they got the Burger King games in there?
No, this is McDonald's.
Pokemon stuff. The Pokemon.
So they had all these Disney. I want to find like there was Power Rangers and stuff on here, like all the classic Disney. But this book rules because not only do they have this, but like little goofy stuff. Like here's the bags that came out during that same time.
Holy crap!
Like on that, and just all these cool things. But
you know how there's like Disney adults?
Yeah.
Are there McDonald's adults?
Like, there's the Batman. Like I have like 80
the
of
animated?
These. Yeah, the animated series. So they made little tiny like.
I remember the Catwoman one.
Yeah. But so there's all
that's back then when the toys were better than the toys you can get like in the stores.
Yeah, the toys were great back then on that. So this book rules if you want to see what freaking packaging they used for Babe.
Yeah, the
toys.
Pig.
They don't do toys anymore for McDonald's, do they?
They do.
I had these little furry.
They did Pokemon cards not that long ago. And then people are going in and buying 20 Happy Meals and they put a limit on it.
The Aladdin set with the backdrops. Oh, classic. So
let me see. Can I see that?
Yeah, flip through that. The other one, I'm gonna show you the front, but I have to censor the front because YouTube will ban us. But there's 2 naked anime chicks on the front. But
what kind of podcast are we?
But something about this is crazy. This is called the Xenogears Perfect Works. So the game Xenogears, you might have heard of it, JRPG, whatever. This is like a legendary art book that came out only in Japan. You could only get this in Japan. Then what happened, somebody spent the time forever translating it to English and put it up as a PDF. And I read through that a couple years ago, and that is like unbelievable. Because it's not just like, here's this character and here's some concept art. Because I feel like that's a ton of art books now. Like, and that's cool, I'm not dogging it. But this goes psycho.
Yeah.
Because, so what happened was, somebody put this up. They took that PDF, cleaned it up even more, and they printed it on like some third-party like book site. So I immediately hit buy on this. It was on Lulu.com. Shouts out Lulu.com. I don't even know what that was, and it got taken down like within 24 hours because Square Enix is not going to let you just print out whatever.
No.
What are the chances they're ever going to take this to English or whatever? So I bought it in time, got it before it got taken down. shouts out to whoever did this. I don't want to, like, they're probably getting chased down like Walt and Breaking Bad. But it has all this art book. It has all these details. They translate all this. But what is crazy about this is this is the only thing I've ever seen art book wise that goes galaxy brain on all explanations. Like, it's talking about what size is a nanometer, and it shows you all this.
Oh my
gosh. It talks about, like, there are charts in here that talk about, like, where is this person's personality in time and space? Here's the thing I put on Twitter.
Oh my gosh.
This is the exact page. It's like, after the crash, the living element in their persona is here. And it goes absolutely galaxy brain, like Albert Einstein level stuff on here. And I love that. Like, that's what I'm all about, because you get into the weeds.
There is a whole universe in that book of just how everything works.
This game is I think what fits with this is Xenogears famously, you go through disc 1, it's like, okay, this is a very good RPG, and then it goes disc 2, and they just ran out of budget, ran out of time. I don't know what else happened with the development cycle. I think it was just kind of crazy to get that game done. Like all this, like, it shows you the meters and all. Like, why do we need this for a game about, like, whatever, these anime characters? But in disc 2, it just kind of goes galaxy brain again, and it is psycho where the story goes and, like, what this whole world and all this stuff is. So I want to shout out the Xenogears Perfect Works. If you can't, I mean, the book's already taken down, the English version. But check out the PDF.
The PDF.
It like, even flipping through it is just really cool. And this game reminds me of Evangelion a lot.
You really
my favorite
like
anime.
game.
Do you recommend Xenogears to people if they haven't played it?
I think, honestly, it is the third best RPG ever made.
Really?
I'd put Chrono Trigger at number 2 and Final Fantasy VII as number 1. Those aren't my favorite RPGs, but I think this is definitely my top 5 of RPGs. I think this is just incredible.
I played the first 10 hours and really liked it.
Xenogears Perfect Works. Check out the PDF or scour eBay. Some people are going to maybe relist it. What is this?
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah, the Power Rangers.
This crap, when it dropped, I was like, McDonald's every day.
Yeah.
Happy Meals. I had these and all the coins.
Yeah.
And I used to walk around like, Mighty Morphin.
What a cool Happy Meal.
Yeah, like, it was so awesome. But they are missing something. I don't know if they didn't have the rights or not. The Pokemon stuff's not in here.
Pokemon wasn't out. It was 98 when that kind of came.
Was it 98?
Yeah,
I thought it was 95.
In Japan. But I remember getting Pokemon Blue when it was brand new in like 98.
Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I was thinking it was 95.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember when Pokemon came, that was another one. That was like, gotta have Pokemon.
Yeah.
Pokemon. Like, so.
Did they have Pokemon stuff?
I thought they did. I thought they did. Didn't they not?
Burger King.
Was it the gold cars? I thought they did the gold
Burger
ones.
King got exclusive rights on that stuff.
Frick, what's Burger King doing now? You just get a crown.
Dude, they made a game. They made 3 games for the Xbox 360.
And I have them.
Hey, there was one. One of them was actually really funny. I think it was the Burger King guy, and you were just
Sneak.
It reminds me of Goat Simulator. When I think about that kind of stuff.
It kind of is probably the same engine. I've only played 2-ish games or whatever this month. I played Mario Maker 2.
Great game.
Mario Maker 2 is funny because I thought I was just going to play a bunch of other people's levels, but there is a single player story mode.
Oh.
And all that happens is the castle gets destroyed, and you just have to. Every Mario game, and I'm not knocking it, just has the most simplistic story, and all you need is a goofy premise, like Bowser took Peach again or whatever. This one, the castle gets fricked up, and you have to rebuild the castle.
That's smart.
And the way you rebuild the castle is you have to go into levels and you earn coins, and you basically are in real estate. Because you have to take the money and give them the money, and they
Mario can be put into anything and it works.
They have all the toadstools like working on this castle. But I really am digging the single player more than I thought I would, because every level is a different challenge. Like, you can't jump at all in this level. It's kind of like, they make their own levels and stuff. It's like, this level you can't jump at all. Like, you just have to move and like really guide Mario in the right way. So it's like, it's different than all the other Mario games, because it's like, you can't just play it like a side-scrolling platformer. There's they give you a gimmick every level, and you have to earn these coins to build this castle back up. But I played that. I played some of the like cradle levels and stuff. So that's been fun. And then I picked up, and I only played a little bit. I've been dying to play more Ring Fit Adventure.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of streamers playing that too now.
And that's
popular.
I had an Amazon gift card, and I was like, that is the perfect price for me. It's free with this Amazon gift card. So I got that, and you use this ring. I'll actually pull it out right now. It's right here. But use this ring, and you also put another strap. You strap elastic band, and you put one of the Switch Joy-Cons in there, and you put the other Joy-Con you slide it into this. And then you go, like, you press it in, to do one action, or you pull it out. And then it also knows, like, if you're doing this, or if you're running, it knows, like, this.
It's a resistance thing, right?
Yeah, so, and then, like, to move in the world, like, it takes you on, like, kind of a path, like a predetermined path, but you have to, like, sprint. You have to, like, walk in place or run in place.
Can I see that?
Yeah.
I'm very curious about this is... Oh gosh, this has some resistance to it. Nintendo always
so what
has
it does too,
health kick thing. Oh gosh, dude, hey, you gotta push in on that.
So what it does,
it kind of got some.
You have to, when you start the game, it gets your profile. So it's like, hey,
push
it as hard as you can, and then that's your strong. And it's like, now pull as hard as you can, or like pull lightly, and it gets your.
Does it make your me fat or skinny based on
it's
what
like,
it
you need
is?
to work out. No, it just kind of like gets.
You have
like,
a little kid on there weighs 40 pounds. They tell him it's obese.
Oh my gosh.
Fit.
But yeah, Ring Fit Adventure, and it's kind of like you fight different monsters and stuff. But like, I love the fitness side of it. And so yeah, people have been loving this. So I'm going to play some more to find out more.
We've also, if you haven't checked out our hangouts, we've been playing It Takes Two.
Yes.
Me and Zach have been, and we actually just recently did a stream of the last one, and that, again, I cannot say this enough, that game's charm in itself.
Yes, I described this last time because they just cuss or have different humor or whatever else. This is a PG-13 Pixar film.
Yeah, 100%.
Like the different like characters you interact with or different settings.
They had such a cool little Easter egg too that we ran into.
Yeah, different Easter eggs and stuff for people that played the last game from Joseph Ferris. Shout out, we're going to continue that. They're probably going to go on for another 4 streams and stuff.
Yeah, we're going to have a little... It's a
little bit longer game. But that game is incredible. Can't recommend it enough. Mm-hmm. Like, it just does different genres. It blends together.
What are you playing it on?
We're playing on PC.
But you can play console. You can play cross whatever. Right?
Yeah, but what's really fun is, like, they just do... Like, at one point, you're doing a shoot 'em up.
Yep.
And the next part, you're doing an actual, like, fighting, like... 2D fighting game.
Yeah.
And the next second you're just doing more platforming and stuff. So it changes enough to where it's like, hey, this is fun. That's what I think is fun with co-op is like you don't know what you're about to get into.
That's exactly.
I don't know what I'm about to.
But only that, the coordination that me and Zach have to have, even when we don't realize it, we're like, we should probably be working together here.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, when you play a game, you're just like, I'm gonna go do it myself. I know what I'm doing. But then there's a level of coordination when you're fighting a boss, so when you're doing something like that. But I really love the fact that every level, there's a new gimmick to it.
Yeah.
And the character gets their own gimmick. And literally, because it keeps it so fresh, like from a platforming standpoint, but also that
I'm never bored, and right when you're getting the end of a mechanic, it's like, hey, here's something new.
Yeah, you got to get, here's a new mechanic. So It Takes Two. It's been great.
Very cool. And then I've still played, and I'm still never going to get done with Persona 5. The game is very fun, but I don't know if I'll ever beat the game. Like, it is so ungodly long. I play on Sundays. That's like my Sunday game. It's like, chill time.
Oh, I gotta boot up. That's like, are you going to work now? Do you feel like it's work?
Well, no, I feel like I'm going to school because I'm in school and the thing.
Yeah, so I can't. It's like Mass Effect Andromeda. I was like, guys, I feel like
but I'm still having a lot of fun with it, but I'll never beat it. And I think that's it for games for me.
Well, speaking of games that are long and from Japan, can be long.
Yeah.
Depends, I guess. I just this morning finished Nier Replicant.
Hey.
So, that was an experience. You've never played any of the
I have a Nier Automata on my radar.
Okay. And then you've played Automata, and we did a hangout of Replicant.
Yeah, we did a recent hangout.
Replicant's the worst one, right?
The Replicant just came out.
It just came out. It's a remaster.
I thought it was the one that came... What's the first one that came out?
Nier Replicant / Nier Gestalt. Or just
that was
Nier.
The first one?
Yeah.
Nier... on PS3.
Okay,
sorry.
On PS3 and Xbox 360, Nier came out. And in the West, it was actually called Nier Gestalt. And in the East, in Japan, it was called Nier Replicant.
Okay.
So the difference between the two games is the same story. Just in the American version, you play as a dad with a daughter, and in the Japanese one, you play as a brother with a sister. But it's an RPG, it's an action RPG. Other than that, the story's the same. But Replicant is basically what they did was the first Nier Replicant. I'll just call it Replicant because it was called different things in different places, but Nier Replicant is the first game. It came out in 2010, and it was Square Enix published it. They didn't develop it, but basically it was kind of like this, this studio. It was the last game they made. It had Yoko Taro as one of the guys that wrote it. There was actually multiple guys that wrote it that were involved in different things prior. But basically, it's an action RPG that is loosely tied to the Drakengard series, which was on PlayStation before. All that being said, Nier Automata is like a sequel-ish. It's not really a sequel. It's just like the next one in that world universe, but they're not really connected. Like you can start with Automata, you can start with Replicant, whatever. So I just started with Replicant because it just came out. And this game is Kingdom Hearts for adults.
Okay.
Like mixed with like Evangelion, like just weirdness and bizarreness and going into people's brains and just that kind of thing, mixed with like Ocarina of Time world design. So like it is simultaneously, I would say, a game I really love in a lot of ways, and also kind of not an amazing game. Like the way these games work is, and Automata is the same way. When you beat it, you can then redo parts of the game, which in this game it's like half of the game, to get different endings. So I don't know if you guys play games that have multiple endings before. Generally, it's like you just make a decision at the end, and then you get this ending or that ending.
Yeah.
This game, it's not so much a decision you make, it's just playing through it again and again. It adds additional like sequences throughout. It changes the ending. Completely different things happen. You're given new choices. And so I beat this game. I beat all 5 endings of this game. I didn't have to play the full game 5 times, but I had to play multiple parts of it multiple times. And I'm not like a big platinum trophy guy, but when I realized as playing this game through the first time that I was going to have to play these sections over and over, I started looking at the trophy list, and I was like, I can do this. Like, I actually could get this platinum if I do my second and third playthrough a certain way. So that's where this got crazy, was I beat the first ending around 30 hours because I did every single side quest. I collected all 30 whatever weapons. Part of the platinum was upgrading every single weapon fully. So
that sounds chaotic.
Yeah, but I just knew I was going to be playing, but I got myself into trouble. Basically, I ended the first playthrough at 30 hours. I just finished it today at 80 hours.
Oh my gosh.
I played this game for 80 hours. Because what happened was I didn't understand how grindy some of the materials were. But I'd already done all the side quests and all these other things. And it was like...
I already committed.
So this week, a couple different days, I grinded these materials to fully upgrade these weapons. And so I did a lot of extra stuff. The game is not an 80-hour game. If you just play through all the endings, you could probably do it in 30 hours.
You just committed a little more.
Yeah, I would just say for Nier, I don't think that... I went in expecting something different. Based on the way people talk about Nier Automata, I was expecting like this really good plot. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, because people are like, there's all these endings, and it's so like very interesting, and I have all these existential thoughts about the ending, and like the plot of Nier is it's all it needs to be. I mean, there are twists. There's a big twist at the end, but like I kept expecting some additional gear shift, like. Well, people keep saying you got to play ending C and D and E, and like endings B, C, and D are like slight variations on ending A. Ending E is where it really goes like Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
But that is what they added for this edition. So the original game didn't even have ending E. So I'm just kind of
this is whole new.
Ending E is brand new to this version, and it goes like very different places. That I loved ending E. Ending E kind of saved this for me. Here's what the
It's
game...
funny because your thoughts on this, I didn't play as much as Nier Automata. I did all the endings, but I actually had a similar thought process to that. Whereas like
I am ending this, I was very conflicted until I finished ending E.
I hated the first part of Nier Automata because it was kind of a chore, and then I didn't like the second part because it was kind of copy-paste the first part. And I was like, why am I doing this again? But then as you go, it's like, okay, these endings are a little cool, and they're doing something a little bit more, something new.
Yeah.
But,
it
sounds similar.
And here's what I will say, though, because I did play this game for 80 hours, and I did 100%. I have one trophy left. I'm 97%, and I don't have any platinum trophies, or I think I have
you got to get this.
The only platinum trophy I have is Destiny 2, and that's because I just ported my stuff over from PC. But so I have to get this last trophy. The last trophy is speedrun the full game in under 15 hours. Which, if I skip cutscenes, I could do it in 5 hours. But like the last thing I want to do right now is play Nier again. Like I just played it
That reminds me, that was one of my last trophies on Ratchet & Clank, one of the games, and I'd already played like 8 times to get all the stuff, and I was like, I can't do it. Like,
I've never platinumed anything, and I will do this at some point because the things that this game does exceptionally are, I think that its atmosphere and its music, it to me is like with The Witcher 1 in terms of like, I love this world, I love the music, I love all the different towns, I just love soaking that all up.
Yeah.
But the plot itself, I think that there are some really cool twists. And conceptually it's cool, but the way they dole out the information to you is just kind of like odd.
Yeah.
To where when things really got revealed, it was like, yeah, I kind of already could tell because, you know, and then you have to see it 4 times. I don't know how much of my feeling of the redundancy comes from me trophy hunting. I had to beat certain bosses in like certain time frames. So like I would go through and play a boss, and then I would reload my save and play it again, but skip all the cutscenes to get the trophy. So I really, really like the game. I'm going to need to sit on it for a while, and I'm curious how I'll look back on it a year from now. I know I'll love this soundtrack. I know that I will have loved the time I spent in that world. But yeah, it's not what I thought it was going to be in terms of... I will say that E ending, the one I got today, really... it was really good, but it was brand new. Like, so part of me is like, I don't even know like if I would like the original Nier the same way I like this current remake or remaster. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I think that if you want an action RPG that like is more than the sum of its parts, or if you played Automata and you're curious about this one, like it is worth playing. I just spent 80 hours with it, and I don't regret playing it. I don't regret buying it. But maybe don't 100% it unless you really feel like it. It's weird. I don't know. It's a really interesting, weird game, and I don't know. It's like the characters, I don't think they're particularly well written, but they're memorable, and like they're funny in their own little ways, but like, I don't know. It's like the crappiest game that I also think is really good. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. I did all the farming. I caught every fish in the game. Like, I did every single side. Sometimes you just get a game and you like the atmosphere and you just soak up every single thing that it has. And that's kind of what this was.
Well, those Japanese games have a certain charm and a certain feeling to them that you can't get in the American market.
Yes.
Like, they have auteurs over there, like Yoko Taro, whatever, these other people, and Kojima, of course. And like, they have just a vibe to them that you just can't get. And that, like, No More Heroes, like, they just have, you know, they make their own type of game, and even with their flaws, they are unique. This game is extremely unique, and it really is. It is Kingdom Hearts for adults with an Evangelion level, like, the world isn't what you think it is, blah, blah, Kingdom
blah.
Hearts for adults sounds great.
It really is. And, like, you fight these shades, but, like, the whole time I'm fighting these things, like, these are the Heartless. Like, this is, like...
This is what it is.
But you are in me now, and now we are...
The darkness is in me.
Yeah, it's that. But imagine if you mix that with, like, some really trippy sci-fi Evangelion, spiritual mixed with technology things. So, I really liked the game. It did some things that really surprised me, but it was an interesting experience. So
cool.
But that took up all of my time. I played a little bit of 80 hours I spent on Nier Replicant.
Pizzo.
I think that if I hadn't done all the trophies, I could have done all the endings in 30 hours and all the side quests.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. Is that all the games you played?
Yeah, I played. That's all I have for you, Jacob.
That's all.
No, it's okay, because there are other things I care about, like the media you consume in life.
Yeah.
Like the media you're supposed to consume 4
what
months
IP
ago.
Are you?
Or the fast food that you consume.
Yeah, you know. No, in all seriousness, the media you were supposed to watch 4 months ago, but you're still working.
All right.
Where
this segment where is Travis in the Lost?
I finished Lost.
I mean,
leftovers.
You were thinking of a better show.
Frick you.
Leftovers, the famous HBO show.
Now, hold on. He said he had an update for us last time. We just forgot to ask him.
Yes.
So I'm expecting...
So July of 2020, we made a deal.
I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast yet or not.
We're coming up on the 1 year anniversary.
We really are, dude. Gosh. And I followed... At this point, I need interest.
Like,
I am halfway through season 2.
Oh my gosh!
wait, last time you said I'll definitely be through 2, and I'll actually talk through.
You are so full of it, man.
Right.
You conned me into playing a game that I did end up enjoying.
You gave it your must play.
I said you
Okay,
you should
well, here's
play
the
it.
update because I think what happened was 1 month I was supposed to talk about this on the podcast, but then my mic started messing up.
Okay.
So then I didn't talk about it on the podcast. We cut it short, and then me and you talked about it off the air. So I didn't want to watch anymore until I got a chance to really explain this on the air.
I want to say I actually have a leftover update from you.
What's that?
That you don't know about.
What's that?
We were all hanging out, our group of friends or whatever, and Travis's wife was with us. Is like, I don't know if he wants me to tell you guys this, but Travis the other day looked at me and said, "I miss leftovers." And I was getting all giddy.
Yeah. Well, because I do like season 2.
Yeah.
Season 2 is good. Season 2 is the worst opening scene, maybe, in anything.
And I love
After
it.
we
I love
slogged through season 1, and then we were ready. The season 1 finale was legitimately good TV.
Mm-hmm.
So we were really ready to see what's going on with our characters now. And they took us through a 10-minute sequence of some girl in the caveman era. And then they took us through some other family for 50 years.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to actually tie this in because I've been watching Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And I love that like cliffhanger mentality stuff because you can play with the audience. So I love that like what's going to happen and you are back. That's the lost part of me.
If you're invested, it's great. If you're not invested,
I love that like they take you to caveman era
Yeah.
stuff. I ate that up because in Breaking Bad spoilers somewhat. In season 5, we're about to finish it up, or rewatch of it, and that episode when have you watched Breaking Bad? Mm-hmm. Okay, where they are about to kill or they're about to fight Walt's guys or whatever. They show up where Hank is at, and he's just arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Walt, and those guys show up.
And there's all the shooting.
And they get the shooting, and then it just cuts. And you are like about to die at that part. Like even on the rewatch, you're like, God, you have to.
But the next episode.
But the next episode, they open up with they go back and they are cooking again. It's a throwback.
Yeah.
And that's how they open. And
But
they
it doesn't
go back
open
to
with people you don't know.
Sure, but I'm just
For 10 minutes,
Yeah.
it's so much
Yeah.
longer.
But
like,
I just love that.
And
Like
then 40 minutes of a family you don't know. Imagine you don't know what's happening with Hank, and you get the next episode. 10 minutes in a caveman in the Arizona desert, and then 50 minutes with some family you've never seen before. I understand that they're connected now, but that is not the same thing as what you're describing.
But I also love, I will top that as well, when you go through all of Kingdom Hearts, and you start Kingdom Hearts 2, and you've already seen the person on the cover, you play as Roxas for a long time. I love that because they blue ball you, and I love that. I don't know what it is. I just and
it wound up being
there's
good.
Something wrong with me. I love getting blue balled because the anticipation is at like 10, and they take you to 12. So like when they
really choke you up there.
Oh yeah, they really do. You're really blue balled. But like on Breaking Bad, it's like I have to know what's happening here, and they're showing me this. Or after that, it's like where am I at in this world? But
I think that I think there's also an element of. I've been conditioned after season 1 of Leftovers that a lot of this stuff it's never going to mean anything. It's more emotional storytelling than it is plot storytelling. And I've not finished the show, obviously, but there are so many setups in the first season that go absolutely nowhere. And that continues into season 2. And it just starts to make you, it's like, and I love Lost, and people complained about Lost for this, and I don't agree because I feel like Lost had enough stuff going on, but it just gets to be like, oh, and what's this? Go theorize about that this week. And then like it turns out to be nothing. And so I start to see through that as like, you're kind of wasting my time. Like that's just how it starts to feel. All that being said, season 2 is, I think, a lot better than season 1. We're halfway through it. I like what they've done with the wife, or the ex-wife, I guess. And she was like writing a book and like trying to help people get out of the cult. And then the cult kind of like took the son captive, and there was some weird stuff with that. And then I like how they've all moved down to Texas. I don't know. I really like that. At first I didn't know how to feel because I was like, they changed the setting. Yeah, and I was like, this just feels like weird, you know? But then, like, what I liked about it was the more I sat with it and the episodes started coming along was, like, they're a new family and they want to move somewhere new. Mm-hmm. And, like, I gained an appreciation for that. And also they want the security of this is a place where people haven't, whatever, disappeared.
Yeah.
But, like, I really, like, started to dig that of, like, they're on an adventure now. Like, the first season, for all of its issues, that was getting the party together. And then now they're on the adventure. They're doing something, you know, bigger.
And it kind of like underlines even more of what the first season was none of these people want to deal with it. And they seemed happy and they're like, oh, we're going to create our own thing. But they also are still dealing with it. Like, no matter where you move, that almost like
you can't get away
testament
with it.
on life too. It's like if your life sucks, if you move somewhere, your life
there's
you
that
also
saying,
have to deal with it.
Wherever you go, there you are also.
Yes.
Like, I'm a big believer in that. There's a lot of people that think, oh, well, I'll just go here and, like, my problems will be gone.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, you are bringing yourself.
Yeah, you're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah. And so that is a theme, I think, to some degree in this season, too. So, and I don't think the setting of the first season was anything to write home about. I thought it was functional, but like the town was weird. The kids in the town were weird. Everything about that season was weird. But I have enjoyed the new season. And
did you get to the pastor episode?
That's the next one.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet.
Well, we watched like 3 episodes in a row one night, and it was like 1 a.m. and we were like, should we watch one more? And then we saw it was him, and just for us, he is not the he is not the most popular guy in our household because he is what, not to go on a religious rant, but he is like what people think Christian pastors are. Mm-hmm. Sure. Always quoting scriptures of people that aren't even Christians. Like, well, in Matthew, Jesus said this. And he's just so like over the top. And he's got his wife there who looks like she wants to die and doesn't want to hear another word he has to say. And I'm sure there's a backstory with all that. But he comes across...
But I love his character development because of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, they make him very like that.
And so, but he comes across as very ingenuine. And so it's just to me as like, God, get this guy off the screen. Like, my favorite thing ever was in season 1 when he helped clean up the body. And I always thought that was funny. Like, oh, but then he kind of turned on him, I think. I can't remember how it all played out. But I did like that of like the pastor coming out and helping him clean up the body. I thought that was cool.
Well, he was being a servant, but in the end,
he did betray him. But that spun into one of my favorite things, which was their little family. Like, they just, at the end of season 1, they just kind of go around and all say the worst stuff that they do. She's like, I'd like to get shot, like with a bulletproof vest. He's like, I killed, I let a woman die out in the woods, and your brother helped me bury him. And like, I really liked that dynamic of, because I there's something about like just open honesty that is so taboo of like really intense stuff. And so once they started saying this stuff, like, and it's okay. I was like, this is a good dynamic. Like, I'm curious to see where that goes.
It's
I think it's a sloppy show, but I do like the characters a lot better now in season 2. Yeah. So, the son is not a good actor.
You know what my biggest regret?
Oh, the son is a terrible.
You know what my biggest regret? I'll have to die with this regret. I love Leftovers. And I wonder if I just told you about it once and rolled the dice that you ever watched it. I think you would love it.
But here's the thing.
But I think I've hyped it up.
It's not about you.
It's not about me.
It's not about you because I followed Damon Lindelof his whole career. I've watched all the movies he's made. I'm a big fan of Damon Lindelof. He's best friends with Rob Bell, who's one of my favorite writers. Yeah. So like I've always followed those two. And I've always just had this impression of Leftovers of like, it's Lost again, but on HBO. Mm-hmm. It's not just you. Many people have said that. But the reason I always put it off was I just didn't like, I'm not into like and I know it's not specifically a Christian rapture, but I just don't have the fascination with end times that many people do. I don't think end times are coming. Yeah. So I don't get fascinated by stories about end times. Sure. I think if we have an end times, it's going to be nuclear war or it's going to be something like aliens. Like I just don't. I don't get excited about that because it doesn't interest me. Like, but I just don't
I know you've said that since the beginning of watching this, but I don't even, when I watch that show, I don't even think about the rapture part.
It's more about the post. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same feeling I have of like, I know it's kind of probably cliche of like, if I just say like, oh, I'm watching The Walking Dead. Oh, I just hate the zombies. It's not about the zombies. It's about the people that are.
And I agree.
And that's how I feel about the Leftovers. I don't even think about the rapture part. I think about the faith side of it, and it's like, what is faith, and what is this life, and how to deal with pain. And
so that's the angle I approached it from, though. Yeah. And that's what was failing me in season 1 was the character stuff. It was extremely uneven, but it's gotten a lot better. I just, and I've talked to a lot of people who also started Leftovers. Like, I've met a lot of people who are like, I bounced off that show. I did not like the characters. I did not like the first season. Like, Jess's parents, like, I just asked, have you ever seen Leftovers? They're like, we watched season 1. We did not like it. Like, I've just talked to a lot of people Jess works with, people I work with. Yeah. It's like a mix. I feel like it's very 50-50. I feel like some people bounce off it, some people don't. Yeah. And I'm glad I've stuck with it because I am liking season 2.
Sure.
And it's something to talk about. What else we got going on? But
just Nier.
I just wish you'd hold up the year end of the bets.
I'm working on it, man. Here's the thing. If you want to watch a show, you just sit down and watch it.
You're right, because I'm about to go over how I just watched 5 seasons of the anime.
I am married. We are watching these shows together.
You're like, I don't have a life.
We have to sync up, like, wanting to sit down and watch something. We don't watch... Me and my wife, we do not watch a lot of TV together. We just don't. I'll play games. She'll, do whatever she's doing.
You could have watched it without her?
I could, but we started it together. So
oh, no, I get that dynamic, but just know you could have watched it yourself. You chose to go that route.
Yeah,
but then Jess would be a leftover.
But this is better. I can blame it on her, kind of.
She would be left behind.
At what point do you just become just like, hey, you need to just finish your word, your promise?
Who, me?
Because here's the thing. If I sat here...
how do you think this works?
Hold on. Now, here's the deal. If I sat in this chair today, and this is for all reviewers listening and
all
watching.
Reviewers.
If I sat in this chair today, and I said, I'm still playing Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
Y'all would be crucifying me.
That's a different...
what?
I think that's a different thing. Because you played Last of Us 1 and were invested. You were just frustrated.
You're right. But if I sat here... Here's the thing, though. If I sat here and said, hey...
No.
I'd be busting I would be busting your balls like I'd be busting
exactly.
like we busted his
balls. If he started Last of Us 2 and was 10 hours in and said, I bounced off it, you wouldn't be busting his balls. You'd say, yeah, I understand. It's not for everybody.
Yeah, it is longer. I get that, yeah.
Like...
It's more of a commitment to play a game for 20 hours than to let a TV play for
30 hours?
30 hours.
Because you can sit down on your phone and do other things. Like, I just don't like it. You can come over. Because at least you can sit and say, I watched it. Yeah. But you're the type of person like, no, I'm going to give it the shake. It deserves it.
I actually don't know if that's true. I would rather play an average game for 20 hours than watch an average show for 20 hours because an average game, at least like you're playing like you're engaged, an average show, if you are not enjoying it, it is slow. Mm-hmm. Oh my! This again and this again and this. Maybe that's just a different personality.
So in the end,
but I don't think Leftovers is average.
I just will continue to give you crap until you finish it.
I'm gonna finish.
This is your Last of Us 2.
I'm gonna finish.
It is.
I'm really enjoying where I'm at in it.
I get it. At this point, I'm not invested in the fact that I want you to watch it. I'm invested because I just want you to finish the bet.
All right, next podcast. What's the new?
What's the goal here?
What's the new promise?
Season 2 will be finished.
Okay. We've heard that one before.
We lowered the bar. Last time it was season 3 would be done.
Oh man.
Season 2 will be finished.
All right.
And then next month's podcast, episode 7 of season 2 will be.
I will watch the past episode.
George R.R. Martin of watching The Leftovers.
Gosh, where's the dragons? Where's the dragons? I have watched My Hero Academia. All the way up to season 5. I have not started.
That's the one with the green hair guy, right?
Yeah, it is freaking awesome.
How many seasons are there?
4 in dub, 5 right now. There's only going to be 6 of them,
okay.
So they are chugging through it. But I will tell you what, I was
a good show.
I was like, I need to watch something. I was like, should I watch JoJo or should I watch My Hero? These are the 2 I had on my radar. I also want to watch Hunter x Hunter, but I was like, I can wait. But this is the 2 I had on my radar, and I was like, I want to watch My Hero. I was like, I'm just going to jump in. It's a newer one. I want to see what it's like. So I jump into My Hero, and I start watching. I was like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good. And then it just kept going and going. And next thing you notice, 2 weeks later, I'm caught up. I was like, crap.
Yeah.
Now I can't binge it anymore. The characters are all... They have so many characters, but every single one of them are likable. Every single one of them you know about them. You don't need like a long... This show does a great... You don't need a long, dragged-out backstory about each of these single characters to be invested in them. They all cool. They're introducing villain after different things. It's just an awesome world.
What's the main pull of it? Like,
it's a really good show.
Like, does anybody have magic power or something?
Yeah, the world. One day they woke up and kids were discovering they had quirks.
Okay.
They had one special talent. Whether they make flames pop out or whether they can bend a spoon.
Okay. And some of them are really benign.
Like really lame.
Like some of them are lame.
The mom literally is like, well, I can move like really small things with my head. So she's like, I can pick up this book and put it up.
That's fun.
And some of them are really mundane and random. Some of them are really crazy.
Yeah. Like one's like I have a tail. That's my quirk.
Like it's not superpowers all the time.
Yeah,
but there are certain people that really do have really handy ones.
Yeah, only 80% of the world got them, so 20% of the world didn't.
They don't have quirks at all.
So the story, the story about the main character is quirkless.
He's like a little boy that doesn't have a quirk, but he has seen like he grew up. You find out your quirk around the time you enter school. Yeah. Like, you don't know it from birth necessarily.
Okay. Yeah.
So this little boy, he watches on... It's always like YouTube.
Yeah,
it's like YouTube. He watches, like, he's obsessed. There's like an Avengers of that world.
Yeah.
And there's
I didn't even know you had watched this.
I watched the first 2 episodes 2 times.
Which he's not wrong. He's spot on.
But there's like an Avengers of that world.
Okay.
And there's a Captain America type guy named Captain...
All Might.
What's his name?
His name's All Might.
All Might. But
don't worry, hope is here.
And so this little kid, he's always watching All Might, and he's like, I want to have a quirk. I can't wait to find out my quirk. And then in the pilot, they take him to the doctor, and they're like, well...
Your bone in your left toe is too long, so it knows you won't have a quirk.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Basically, he's not going to get a quirk. Oh. And so he is extremely sad, and even his mom is like, I'm sorry this happened, but you're just going to be a normal person. Yeah. And like, it's like very, like, it's very emotional.
Oh, wow. It's like super
It's like, basically his mom's like, you know, I'm sorry, like, this happened to you, but you're not going to be able to be anything special.
Oh, wow.
And his mom's very, like, a loving mom, and it's like, whoa. And so then I don't really, like, basically, as far as I got was something happens in his town, and even though he doesn't have a quirk, like, he runs in and, like, tries to stop whatever's happening and intervene. And, like, all these people with quirks are, like, backing off. Like, they're not gonna run into the fire. But he runs in, even though he doesn't have a quirk. And then he kind of gets on their radar from that.
Okay.
And I think he ends up going to the school for people with quirks. But I don't know if he gets a quirk. I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
But it's a cool setup.
He gets green hair.
Yeah.
Well, he has green hair.
Oh, okay. That's his quirk.
But, yeah, dude, the show is freaking
I was
phenomenal.
impressed by how well written it was and how emotionally charged. Like, generally, animes, the first episode you watch, you're like, okay, I get it. When is it going to get... This, like, from the bat was like, this is a very well-told, emotional story.
I literally sat there, because you go from here's the thing, you watch Naruto, and then you watch Attack on Titan, and after you watch Attack on Titan, you're like, man, they did anime where, like, here's a story, we're not getting away from the story.
Yeah.
Story. And then you have, like, something like Yashashime, which is, like, you know, some filler, some story, some filler, and it's like, but it's not bad. It's just a mix. Then you watch My Hero, and you're like, this is really good story that's drawn way out, like, a lot longer. Like, because, like, for my issue with Attack on Titan, there just wasn't enough of it. I wanted more about this world. Where My Hero is, like, there's so much about this world that you could go on some tangents.
But there's no filler from what I've heard. It's just the story.
It's constant story, constant characters. It is hilarious. It is sad. It is exciting. It is suspenseful. And it's like, man, like, this is, for me, after I finish season 5 and 6, after I finish the series, I'm telling you right now, I could put this one in my top 3.
Nice.
I really liked the first few episodes.
I dead serious. Like, and I'm like, and that's big because, like, you know, you're talking Naruto level, kind of like top 3, like, because Naruto's my number 1. I love Naruto. And Attack on Titan got close, but, you know, I could put it in my top 3.
Yeah.
And it's that good.
Nice.
You should, if you haven't watched it, I say that, like, you should definitely watch it.
Yeah.
I know there's probably other things you have on your radar, but I'll tell you to watch that. If you watch that, I'd debate watching Evangelion.
You never watched it.
I've never watched Evangelion.
I don't know if you'd like Evangelion.
I don't know if you like it at all.
Yeah, I've seen...
The older I get, the more I'm, like, filtering
but you know what?
things to me. Like,
I didn't even really like Evangelion my first watch. And
is it like Gundam?
It's an acquired taste.
It's Evangelion tries to, at the time when it came out, you have to think about when it came out, it was all Gundam, all these robot animes. So it is that, but it kind of like comments on that, like, what if you actually told a boy to go into a thing and save the world? And the kid is kind of depressed. Like the author, I mean the creator,
he's like, I don't want to do
also
this.
has depression and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's him dealing with that with this show, and like the characters are like that, but the characters are like memorable and stuff. But I don't know what you think. Maybe but you like Last of Us Part 2, so
I liked Gundam. I liked Zoids.
I think you would.
I think it's worth a shot, but I think I don't know what you would.
I think you would plow. You would plow through Evangelion.
It's 26 episodes.
Yeah, I think it's worth the watch. I think it's worth the watch.
I'd kill that.
I think it's worth the watch because we talk about it so much.
Would you recommend you watch the Netflix dub?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're pretty safe watching it.
That's the highest quality one that's out there.
It's on Netflix stuff.
Makes
So
sense. Okay, cool. Good to know. Yeah, but
he'll,
that's honestly.
he'll have watched that and all the Rebuild movies by the time he's through season 3.
Yeah, I just plowed through My Hero, so I'm pretty much caught up. I'm debating if I want to switch to sub just to watch season 5 or let the dub roll out now because I really like the dub.
Yeah,
the dub for My Hero is phenomenal. I don't like. I know some people get really snobby about that. The dub is really good.
I've really when it's more shonen or like more like JoJo's, I just watch the dub. If it's more than 20 episodes, and even if it is 20 episodes, like My Hero Academia, the dub was really good.
It's phenomenal. Like
I actually don't know very many things right now where I'd be like, I'll watch the sub. I don't know.
Naruto is definitely one of those like the sub is.
Is it better?
Yeah, it's a lot better. But that's just me. I think the emotional state of it's a lot stronger. But everyone's different.
I've been watching 2 shows, like I said, on my rewatch of Breaking Bad. We have 2 episodes left, so I'll have it finished next time. But
in retrospect, what's your favorite season?
I used to like season 4 the best, but I think I might like season 3 the best.
Season 3 is really that's when basically they're at the height of cooking for Gus, or they start cooking for Gus, right?
Yes.
So that's really fun stuff when they start really getting deep into working for Gus.
So I might like season 3 the best now on the rewatch. I used to like season 4 the best. Season 4 has some of the highest stake and you're like some of the crazier things. Mm-hmm. But upon the rewatch, the acting is still 10 out of 10. Like we just watched moments in season 5, and that acting between like Skylar, Walter, like, oh my gosh, like the scene at the towards the end when he has to basically, is the word exonerate, like that she's not involved in this stuff. Yeah. He has to call and all the police are already there. Like that is heart-wrenching stuff when everything falls apart for him. When like she grabs the knife and is gonna like stab Walt.
That
and,
episode is.
I forgot some of the newer stuff that had happened. I was like, oh yeah, that happened, and like, but. That happened, and when he called, he was trying to exonerate her or whatever, and like tears were running down his face, and he's still keeping the like bad guy mentality, like why didn't you ever listen to me? But he was trying to say like, oh, and also you didn't even know anything about this, like he was slipping it in there, and as the police were listening, and you can tell in the acting in her eyes, like that's all you need is like she knew what he was doing, and stuff. Like 10 out of 10 acting. And I've always had a back and forth because, like, another show, my top 5, whatever, has always been Sopranos. And it was like, so me and my wife, I saw it my second time. She saw it for her first time. And I was like, I wonder, there's a big debate. Is Breaking Bad or Sopranos better? And now I'm on my second part of Breaking Bad. And I always held that Breaking Bad, I did like it better than Sopranos. I just, again, a couple months ago, rewatched Sopranos for my second time. Loved it. This is my second time watching Breaking Bad. I think I've switched. I think I like Sopranos more than Breaking Bad. I think Breaking Bad has more, what's the word for it? Like iconic like moments. Like they have like these almost comic book like classic frame moments that are in my head. But Sopranos is so consistently good with a bunch of characters, and you are just
bigger cast, right?
It's a way bigger cast. Whereas, like, and that's not the not Breaking Bad.
It's more complex.
It's more with these smaller group of characters. Whereas Sopranos will take you on a ride of all of these extended family and all this other stuff come in the picture, and there's messes there and stuff, and you just love to see like Tony Soprano acting every week, like watching that. So. I think I like it a smidge more. I don't know what it is, but that's just my gut feeling after rewatching these. But
I need to watch The Sopranos. That's a big gap in my...
I used to get kicked out in my living room. My parents were like, you have to go downstairs. I'm like, why? And then I always hear that the music.
Wake up this moment.
And I was like, what? So then I get upstairs and she's like, go downstairs. I was like, I'm getting something to drink.
How many seasons is that?
6 or 7.
And how many episodes per season? Is it like a 10 or
15 to 20? I mean, back then it was like
longer.
It was
like 20.
But I think it was like 15.
Yeah, my parents ate that show up together. That was their thing. They'd have company come over. That's back when like I don't know. I never
have viewing parties.
Yeah, they do viewing parties like every week. I didn't understand until I got older, and then like Walking Dead became really big. And people were like, "Are you guys gonna watch Walking Dead?" And I was like, "I ain't watching Walking Dead."
Yeah.
And now it's dead. But
I rewatched that. Very good show. Of course, recommend Breaking Bad. And then I watched Ken Burns. If you already know the name, if you've seen a documentary film, because if you ever see like a picture like moving and zooming in at the same time, that's called a Ken Burns effect. And he kind of like pioneered. He kind of used that. That was
That's
kind
a
of
really
staple.
cool effect.
It was kind of a staple, and that's used in absolutely everything you see when they show you a picture in a documentary. They're using that absolutely most of the time. But he makes all these classic documentaries and stuff. There's tons and ungodly amounts of research that goes into him. He's done Vietnam War. He's done one on baseball.
The Vietnam War one was really good.
Yeah, the Vietnam War one was awesome. But he recently came out. The newest one is Hemingway. It's on Ernest Hemingway, the author. So there's 3 episodes, but they're very long. They're like an hour and a half, 2 hours each of these episodes. So I'm a little bit more into episode 2 of them. But I definitely recommend checking that out. I think it's on the PBS app, and it's also an Amazon app or whatever. But it's how you can watch it. But I love digging in deep on some of these iconic figures and history and stuff, and especially when it's a Ken Burns thing, because you're like, you're going to get a thorough kind of this and pictures and video and all these like footage and stuff they pull out. So I'm loving it so far. He's a complicated guy. It talks about and I don't even think I've read any Ernest Hemingway stuff, maybe in school, but it made me want to read some of his stuff because what he did. And it's funny how waves of people come in and how they become famous because what will happen is something will come to rise in video games or movies or TV shows, here's a style or here's what's hot, and somebody will come in and do the antithesis of that, and that person will become famous. You know what I mean? Because they we were talking about Evangelion, let's just really dive into robot stuff and really kick it in its face. But that's kind of what he did, because writing back then at that era, in the era he was writing, the 20s and stuff when he got started, it was very complex. It was very dense. These authors and stuff that became famous, and what he did is he wrote very concise. The way his mentality was, say what you got to say, as in the smallest amount of words as you could. So it is basically a first grader could read, a person with lower intelligence can read some of his stuff.
Oh, interesting.
It's just deep in the way how thought out it is and how descriptive it is. But it is I wanted to go there, but I did not. That's the way he writes and stuff. But he is so concise. That's how it's so beautifully written. Is you feel like you're there in the way he's writing it and stuff, because he really describes it very well. But
what are his biggest books?
He writes a lot of short. Where I'm at in the stuff right now is he is writing a bunch of short stories, and then he'll compile them in compilations or something. But that's how he became famous. But Ernest Hemingway, check him out. Another thing is that he became even back then in the 20s, there was critics and all the media and stuff in him and stuff. So he is really big into hunting, and he's this macho, masculine guy, this figure and stuff. He has a mustache and big muscles or whatever, and he's this author. But he has this persona that bleeds into his real life, and some people are trying to see what separates the man from the fiction, and finally he kind of absorbs that into himself, and it kind of destroys him in some ways.
Oh, wow!
All that stuff is very interesting. So I'm still getting into all that, but Ernest Hemingway, check him out.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for a good documentary, man. Yeah. The one thing we were watching is called Trial 4. Jess and I, we really like watching stuff. When we do watch stuff, we get into crime documentaries. A lot of times justice systems. There's a lot of stuff that.
There's a ton of.
But there's one we've been watching, and I liked it in particular because it takes place in Massachusetts, in Boston. Well, I didn't like it. It's very terrible. But basically, it's all about how the Boston Police Department in the 90s, they were so sloppy with the way they would investigate and accuse people of things. And they give all these examples of this guy calls the police and his wife's shot. And, this is in 91. And the cops show up and his wife's dead and he's sitting in the car and he's it was a black guy. And they went into all these neighborhoods and the cops broke into every single apartment. They arrested 50 people. They beat people in the streets trying to find the black guy. Yeah. And then it was found out later that he shot his own wife and called the cops. And so they were just basically sharing all these stories of this stuff happening in Boston. They were extremely sloppy. They would pin things on people that had nothing to do with it because they wanted quick convictions. And there was a guy who was arrested in this time for something. There was a cop that was killed. And then they had no leads on this cop that got killed. And then 2 weeks later, around the corner, these 2 girls were killed. These 2 black girls were killed. And their cousin came home, to their house to see them. and they were dead. And he's like asking questions, like, where are my cousins? And they brought this guy in and they questioned him, and they basically got it to where they thought he was the one that killed the cop 2 weeks prior.
Yeah.
Because they asked him questions like, do you know anything about this cop that killed? He's like, where, at the Walgreens? Like, yes, at the Walgreens. He's like, yeah, I actually was there that night. This kid, he's like, yeah, I actually was there that night at Walgreens. And like, he did it. He told us he was there.
Yeah.
And like, they go on nothing. And he got convicted and spent 24 years in prison, went through 3 trials. And the documentary is called Trial 4 because it's his 4th trial. Trying to just go through the weeds of like, this, like, basically the first jury was hung. 10 people think he didn't do it, and 2 people wouldn't listen. He was black. They thought he did it. Second one hung again. Third one, they whittled down basically. Trial to trial, the prosecutors figured out what was making people think he didn't do it, and they were working to get that out of evidence to where the third group that went in, they came out unanimous he did it. And they basically interviewed those people after, and they were like, they didn't tell us, they didn't show us any of the stuff that made people say before that he didn't do it. And so we just got caught up to where we're now at the part where they're going to go into this 4th trial. And I don't know how it turns out, but it makes your blood boil. And they interview these people, these Boston cops, and they stone cold, he did it. I know for a fact he did it. And like, they'll give these reasons that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
Because they're not even trying to make sense because it doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, they just know that they can do this, and it is so unbelievably frustrating to watch this stuff. And I don't know, like, we watch that stuff because it's like these stories. It sucks because you feel like you watch the same one. It's like, I saw another one that was kind of the same thing, but like, this is the first one where I'm like, this guy in no way did this. Like, it's not even a mystery of like what happened to the guy. He was a crooked cop. He got offed by another crooked cop. Like, it is so obvious. And, it's just frustrating. So, yeah.
But that is our podcast. We can't end on a downer note, so what's like happy?
What's happy?
Name
E3 is around the corner.
E3. We should talk about E3. E3, because by the next time we do the podcast, I think we'll have already,
We'll get a launch date for Halo.
Okay.
I think we'll get that.
Sure.
I think so.
Sure.
I think that's a solid prediction.
That's a solid.
I think we'll get a title card for Metroid.
Update the logo.
I don't think we will see anything from Metroid.
Give me a new logo.
Joke about
I think that there will be a lot of announcements. I think that, 2016 when they like announced everything that would be coming out over the next 5 years? I think that there will be some of that this year. It might not be 2016 level, but people don't have things ready to go, and they're going to feel like, we missed E3 last year, let's just let it all out.
Breath of the Wild 2, will we see...
Will Sony be at E3? They probably won't be, right?
They're not. I think they're not again this year. So, but we will be streaming it. Travis is going to be our host. I will be on vacation, so that's going to be really interesting. We're going to try to figure that out. I don't know if it'll be...
I'll have me and you, and
when is it?
It's in a couple weeks.
I might be gone, bub.
No, that's okay. If nothing else, I'll do a reaction, and I'll see if somebody wants to do it.
Travis will be reacting, but I don't know.
You guys are replacing.
I don't think it's just get 2 people off the street. It won't be live, but we'll be probably like a little bit afterwards. We'll have it uploaded on YouTube. So we're going to be doing our unlive reactions on YouTube for that, and then of course we'll have our big E3 discussion stuff on the podcast next month. So that's happy. We did end on a happy note.
Yeah, I like that.
So, put in the comments, are aliens real or are they not? Put yes or no in the comments.
Also, let us know how your portfolios are looking.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up. I can't do crypto part 2.
Diamond hands it.
Diamond hands, always.
Yeah. The government's diamond handsing those reports. That's all I gotta say. Let's go. Paper hands it. See you later. Bye-bye.
Love you guys.